I'ma spit a little story, I'ma keep it brief. My life is so insane, but it changed with just a leaf. It made me feel complete, I never thought I would. Used to be that person that's rehearsing to present he's good. I felt misunderstood, to feel good I would pop pills. I'm not frontin', poppin' 20 Norcos, that was nothing. Took too many, it was plenty, couldn't handle it. Mama, she was crushed when I was rushed away by ambulance. Feeling so pathetic, man, I can barely stand it all. Surrounded by paramedics, so I told them about the tramadol. How many I took, their looks were so embarrassing.
But I had to go, my liver burning like some kerosene. Right now, God, I'm thankful for Kratom. So happy that you made it. Tell you right now, never back down. Let's just band together and let nobody take it. Right now, God, I'm thankful for Kratom. So happy that you made it. Tell you right now, never back down. Let's just band together and let nobody take it.
See, the worst thing is when people try to come in and take away your freedom. Just because they're not profiting from something, they'd rather you be sick than healthy. They'd rather be wealthy than you be well.
See, I don't know where I'd be without this plans. It's not a facade, changed who I am. Used to be an addict, nowadays I am a man. I don't think you understand, I don't think you understand.
Yo, life as an addict, it was so over dramatic. Act sporadic, get pissed, and then you flip like some acrobatics. Listen to me, I would never steer you wrong. We should chant about the plan that helps us all just get along. I love the ball, he makes me jolly, filled with happiness. I'm the guy who loves a tie, sprinkle with some capitalist. I think it's awesome and delicious. Every day the FDA lies and tries to make it look so vicious. I wonder why, rather have it sick than healthy. Long as their pockets are wealthy, driving in the Bentley, they prevent me from living free. Actually, it's just a tea, lets you live so happily.
But they ain't getting paid cause it ain't man-made. Right now, God, I'm thankful for Kratom. So happy that you made it. Tell you right now, never back down. Let's just band together and let nobody take it. Right now, God, I'm thankful for Kratom. So happy that you made it. Tell you right now, never back down. Let's just band together and let nobody take it.
What's up?
Oh, it's so good.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving. We have
Thanksgiving.
we have a special guest, Kratom advocate extraordinaire, Miss Lora Romney Smith.
Glad to be here. I'm excited.
Was that video
We're
glitching?
thankful.
It was.
Yeah, I was trying to look. I was looking into that right now. I'm
Man.
like, maybe I have too much stuff up.
It looks like one of those freeze frame, the kind
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it looked cool. Regardless, it's a good song. It's just, I don't know. I hear those and I love it. It's just so cool. And I can't even
He's
imagine.
such a
I know
good
Jordan,
singer.
and I can't even imagine like seeing him in those darker days. It's the coolest thing to see what he's become, and it's just awesome.
He's got a really, really good energy about him.
He does.
He really does.
He does
Hey,
really
Mel.
well in front of in front of the legislators too. He does such a good job.
He's just like, kind of like Misty, it's just like a normal person you feel like you can relate to. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. But yeah, he's just, I think every time he's testified, I get teary eyed.
I do too.
He's so great. Just have his little kids get up there and his wife and just, that's when it really gets me, is when I see, the families, how, they're just as much, their lives have been saved.
Mm-hmm.
Just as much as the actual person.
Yeah, because it doesn't just save us. It trickles down and saves our family members as well.
For sure.
It's like,
Yeah.
I was just thinking earlier today that this time of year I would be, sorry, we have a snowstorm coming in actually on Saturday and Sunday. And it always congests me whenever before it gets here. Anyway, so I was just thinking today that, because normally at this time of year, like I said, my brother died on November 20th of 2012, and his death was the reason why I catapulted and stayed in active addiction for so long, and around this time of year, especially right before Thanksgiving, I would try to be stockpiling my pills or getting a hold of my drug dealers and being like, make sure you got this, you got that, hold on to them for me, and it's like, now since 2019, when I found Kratom, my kids no longer have to worry about me.
Mhm.
And because they don't have to stress and worry about if they're going to find me dead, where they're going to find me knotted off, got my face in my food, because they no longer have to stress about that, they can live their lives.
Right.
That's what I'm thankful for. It's like
Yeah.
being an active addiction, you're selfish. You are a selfish human being. All you
Yeah.
care about is your next hit, your next fix, chasing money to get more, chasing more to get money. It's such a vicious cycle to be in. And I was stealing from my kids, I was stealing the money that they were saving, all this. And it's like, I put them through so much. And for somebody that wants to take that away from me and my family, I take it personal.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, I have a memory. In fact, as you're sitting here, you think back, and I remember we usually go to family, extended family for Thanksgiving. And I remember before I ended up finding Kratom and I was still looking for pain relief, I having to go after the dinner and lay in my mother-in-law's bedroom with the door shut, away from everybody, because the pain was so extreme I couldn't handle it. And I felt so alone and so
guilty.
really guilty.
I used to feel so guilty.
It was horrible just being there and not being able to participate in all that. It was a mental mess for me. And look at that. Now I'm, cooking and going to be there for everybody. And it's just a big deal. Because you're right. I do take it personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
it's like, I don't understand. I've heard people say, oh, well, people, if you take it away, they're going to lose their life or whatever. It's like, it's not that extreme, but we lose our quality of life.
Yeah.
And we go back to like not even living, like, it's not fair to our whole family. It's not fair to our kids. It's not fair to us. When we finally find, it's not fair to have to deal with chronic pain, and life's not fair, but it's just like, we finally found something that works for us. Why take that away?
Yeah.
Why take that away?
And it's like, I sit back and try to reminisce. Was there an echo?
No.
Okay. I sit back and try to reminisce, about what I would be doing like today, Thanksgiving Eve. Like I said, I'd be, if I didn't have my pill, I would always try to schedule my doctor's appointment like a couple days before Thanksgiving so that I could go get my script filled, and have it on deck and on the ready, because Thanksgiving, like the holidays, you're surrounded by family. And because my, dad and brother were dead, and our family was fractured already at that point.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just wanted to constantly numb myself up. I'd be high. I would be high cooking Thanksgiving dinner. And it's like my kids would have to babysit me while I'm cooking dinner for them. And it's like, I don't know. It's just, and because I found Kratom, I'm here. I'm present in the moment, and I'm remembering. I'm creating new memories because I'm present in the moment.
Right.
You're creating not only new good memories, but you're remembering them.
Mhm.
Like I know, 7 years ago, before I found Kratom, I would have already stocked up on alcohol and been going through it like crazy. I would have woken up this morning so crappy feeling, but I would have told myself, I got to cook. I would have made the kitchen. Oh God, there's no telling what it looked like trying to cook my deviled eggs.
I know.
And I probably would have already passed out. What time is it? 1:12. I probably would have passed out a couple times already today, to walk back up and try to keep. But it's just like, there was no memories except for just
Existing.
passing out, waking back up, existing.
Yeah.
And you feel, I felt so guilty all the time because I couldn't do things,
And then the guilt eats you up, and then you go and want to numb it more.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, because you're in that cycle, your brain is taken over. You're stuck in that loop. Mm-hmm. And it's like I said, I never admitted I was an addict. The only people that knew I was an addict was my drug dealers. I never looked at, my kids could tell it, my family could say it. But I would be like, no, I go to the doctor. I get prescribed these. I'm not an addict. I never admitted I was a closeted chronic pain patient addict, you know,
Yeah.
and it's,
I don't miss having to constantly worry in the back of my mind about pain management. Do I have enough do I have enough pills to last till this? Mine never lasted,
Well, and it's really hard because I go to the pain doctor once a year because I do have a really tiny prescription for, when I have really severe breakthrough flares.
Yeah.
And so again, once a year I go and see him, but every time I feel this sense of like panic, like, am I going to be able to, I don't have to judge. And he's wonderful, by the way, love my doctor, but you still feel you're on edge as you go in and you're always wondering, because, you hear stories of people having the P test where other substances that you haven't even taken pop up. And then you're labeled. And then I'm so relieved. It's like, okay, great. I have my little prescription and I go to fill it. And then of course you have to stand there and you want to stand there and you're like, I'm here to pick up my,
yeah.
And of course, then 2 pharmacists have to come up and warn you how dangerous it is. And it's totally good that you're doing that. But then you just sit there and I don't know, you just feel in some ways just so much like a criminal. And I love to I just have my little container in my purse and, I pre-mix my little doses when I'm going to go out and do stuff. And it's just so much nicer not having to deal with that.
And I've been attacked by, the chronic pain patients, mainly on TikTok. Well, sometimes on YouTube too. But, I've always accepted responsibility for my role on why chronic pain patients are going through what they're going through today. I will never use my testimony to file an opioid lawsuit or to have the prop do the Andrew Cologne, I would never allow nobody to use my testimony for their wannabe fight on this, opioid epidemic stuff, and it's like, I've always accepted my responsibility for that. I wouldn't have done it in the time that I was an active addict, because I didn't, like I said, I never admitted I was an addict, but to see what's being on this side of being a recovered addict and seeing what's happening to the chronic pain patients today, I am just appalled.
Yeah.
Because my grandma was a chronic pain patient. She was never addicted to her pills. Matter of fact, I used to steal her pills.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like that. I just don't understand that logic of why are you punishing them today? Like, I always say I survived the overprescribing epidemic. Yes, if you weren't around and you weren't prescribed 320 oxycodones a month, you're not going to understand where I'm coming from. But
and reform needed to happen. There is no doubt. Like you didn't need going in and getting a wisdom tooth out. You didn't need 30 oxycodone. You just didn't. Period. So there definitely needs to be, there needed to be some changes. But they went crazy and they just ripped everything from you. And you can't even go to the emergency room now and they won't treat you. And I just see it. I was on a call last night for a local kind of a pain advocacy thing here in Utah. And there's like 4 people on the call, really nice people. It's a brand new thing. I hopped on and 2 of them, the one guy was this, they're in there, looked like they're in their upper 70s. The one guy was laying on the floor. You could tell his back was bad because he was on the floor. And the other man was just in this little, his little armchair. He's this older guy. And I'm just like, this is so sad that they're punishing them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, but yet on the other hand, they'll do everything in their power to protect those that are actually abusing substances right now.
Right.
I don't like. I always think of it as a scale. And here, all the people that are, really benefiting from this, they don't weigh as much. All of the people that are abusing, it's like, no, we have to save them. We have to save them. Harm reduction. Right. Rather than, and they're like, and you hear it all the time. They're always like, well, I know there are some people that use it to help and some medical things, but it's always the but we really need to take care of these people over here. It's like, well, then what are you supposed to do? And if these people did have an other alternative, I'm telling you, if you could say, well, all right, we're going to make kratom illegal and you're going to go to your pain doctor and you're going to get an appropriate pain dose. Yeah. But you don't get that anymore.
Right. And we see it happening in the kratom community. The supposed, kratom deaths outweigh our positive testimonies.
Right.
The supposed kratom addictions, outweigh our positive testimonies. Like people like me who survived being an active addict. I am no longer an addict. I will not identify as an addict in recovery.
Right,
I'm a
yeah.
recovered addict. My 6.5 years of being a kratom consumer, I have been challenged. I went and got teeth pulled, got offered Vicodin, 2 times. And I politely turned them down. And I was like, no, thanks. I got ibuprofen and kratom.
Right.
Right. They even,
Some people just like have to have that as like, they make it their whole personality.
Yeah.
I mean, especially like if if they started like a social media influencer type thing, I've seen so many of them that they'll like even like make up stuff
Yes.
and lie to get, like, oh, I had a relapse or blah, blah, but it's like they're constantly, and I mean, I get it, I think it's great that people are putting their stories out there to try and help other people.
but be truthful.
But yeah, be truthful, and you don't have to say that you're recovering for the rest of your life. When you feel recovered, you're recovered.
Yeah.
Period.
Right.
There's life beyond recovery. And that's, when Mike pretty much taught me that years ago, that's when I transitioned from, because when I started TikTok, I wanted people to see that kratom is recovery,
Yeah.
And then for a while there, it's like, I don't know, I felt like I plateaued. Like I wasn't living beyond that recovery, kratom is recovery title. And so then I when I think about hindsight stuff, I transitioned into the life beyond recovery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it changes the way you think.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way that you talk about yourself it's what you are.
100%.
And then being faced, like I said, I've had an old drug dealer call me up and said, hey, I got these oxys on deck. Do you want some? And then I had a cocaine dealer. And I'm like, I am in recovery. This was early on, by the way. Because you learn fast, quick, and in a hurry to block those numbers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm in recovery. I'm good. Thanks, but no thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it when I hear people after you tell your story and they're like, or they, hear you talk and they're like, so why do you continue? Why are you still using it? And it's like, Mel said here, like, her grandma had the right meds. It's like, we depend, like as a chronic pain person, you have to have something for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
why not let it be kratom?
Well, and let's break this down. The reality of a lot of people that become addicts, the reason why is because they have things going on in their life that have helped them or that have had them. They want that escape. So, there's sexual abuse they've involved in. They've had domestic violence. They've had, really traumatic, whatever. They have mental health conditions. There's reasons why people typically go to a substance for that escape. And the reality of it is so you come off of something. Does that mean that all of those things that led you to that addiction have completely disappeared in your life?
Right.
No, not necessarily. I mean, sometimes yes, but I don't think anyone should be faulted for doing quote maintenance dose, to feel, to help them get through. I mean, I've been talking to a gal. She's got an amazing story, very similar to Misty. She's here in Utah, and I think she's going to be an amazing, more vocal advocate here in Utah. Now we've got a ban threatened, but yeah, same sort of thing. She was like 17, I believe. I'm trying to remember her story when she started getting hooked on all sorts of things. And she ended up going into rehab 3 times and failed all 3 times. And her mom, I know her mom, and she's like, we thought we were going to lose her. We were waiting for the call. And she said, as much as we tried, we just couldn't stop. And she said her brother heard about kratom and said, well, I've heard that you might be able to try this. And she's like, well, we've tried everything else. And she said it absolutely changed her life. And I saw her probably 6 years ago when we did a little podcast, and I reached out to her. I said, hey, are you still around? Are you willing to, speak again? And she says, yeah. She says, I'm still clean. after all these years, I think it's been like 8 to 10 years or something. She's got a little boy and she's just doing so well. But her mom was the first to say, listen, this is still saving her life. She's like, I know that without this, we are at risk of her sliding back because she had some of those early trauma issues, like we just discussed.
Yeah.
And she still deals with that and goes to therapy and all this, but it's a life-saving maintenance dose that she has. And she's like, oh, it's truly, I can tell you, it saved my life. So it's not a cliche thing.
Yeah, you know, because when I constantly try to continue to put the pieces of the puzzle together, because before active addiction, I was not addicted to nothing, you know, except cigarettes, you know. So there was certain like mental and emotional things that had happened, you know, in my life from 2000. It started in 2006, and then, you know, going to the doctor for I initially went for migraines that I was having. And then, like I said, even when I went then, I was just shocked on how many pills I could get every month, you know, for the migraines I was having. And then in 2008,
you're like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to like this fancy freaking pain clinic that's out here in Colorado, and they just 300 something meds that I got. And so then in 2008, when my back problems started, I initially thought my back problems were started because I worked at the post office and it's physically demanding. Mm-hmm. So that's what I thought was happening. But no, I go and then they see that I have that degenerative disc disease.
I've got that as well.
And so, you know, from then on, there was like certain traumatic, like trauma type events that happened. It was mainly mental and emotional. And then the deaths started happening. You know, my dad died, then my brother died, then my mom died in August of 2018. And so it's like, you know, and then I self-medicated. That's what I did.
Yeah. Well, you know, like a lot of, like, for instance, you know, me having transverse myelitis, a lot of people that, or, you know, say MS or whatever that affects your mobility and like your way of life, you know, like, you know, just anything that you're having to deal with physically. You know, a lot of people, that's trauma, you know, and you have to deal, because I would use that as an excuse all the time when I was drinking, you know, like, you don't understand how it is to live like this. And there's a lot of just people that are like that, like in my Facebook groups and stuff. And, you know, a lot of them choose alcohol. A lot of them do.
Because you had to relearn how to walk.
Yeah. Like you had, and, you know, it sucks sometimes when you go out and you see people living normal lives and you can't do that. And then you're in pain on top of that. So it just makes you mad at the whole world.
Yeah.
And so your outlet is to, you know, whatever you choose to do, you know, drink or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, and Kratom helps with that. You know, Kratom turns all those thoughts off.
Yes.
You know, you don't even care. You don't even care. Let those people, you know, I'm glad they're happy. You know, let them, you know, and I'm glad I'm happy.
It turns those thoughts off, and then it makes you stop and pause, and it has you working on why you feel the way that you feel.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, just like, you know, our opposition group can attack me all day long if they want. I don't care. I'm not harassing you, but you're harassing me.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'm living rent free in your head.
Yeah.
Yay.
It's just crazy. It's like, but yeah, I mean, there's, and I still have, you know, a couple of friends that are, you know, it's hard to make somebody see that it's that way, you know, when you're, especially when, you know, you're drinking and you think everything's fine. But yeah, I mean, you know, I never thought I'd be in a place in life where I'd be happy for other people that are happy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because I was just a miserable person.
Right.
You know, I was miserable because I wasn't a normal. So, you know, I think it's great that Kratom takes care. It takes care of so many things.
You know, it's like, you know, misery loves company. You know, when you're miserable, you want to attract the other miserable SOBs, you know?
Yeah.
Just like hate breeds hate, you know?
Yeah, sure, for sure.
And because of Kratom, because we're thankful for Kratom, we're out here doing our advocacy thing, trying to find the other people that have been saved by Kratom, you know? And we're trying to organize all that. You want to go ahead and put Laura's email address?
I was about to say, let's go ahead. Laura,
yeah, we can just, let's just kind of tell you, let me just tell you in general why we have such a need right now. So, so what happens is every day there is a scour of the internet that comes through and says, okay, here's the hearings that are popping up. Well, most of the time they are legally only allowed, or they have to have, I think it's 2 days notice before the hearing is posted. So we have no idea. All of a sudden it's like, wow, we've got something that's happening in Kansas or whatever.
Yeah.
And this thing has popped up. Well, the problem is if we don't have a list of people from all the different states, we are like, what do we do? We don't know. There are some states where we definitely have more advocates. We have our old tried and true, like you guys, that will help and show up if you can to the hearings. But where it really makes an impact are the people that live in that state. Mm-hmm. We've actually had a hearing last week or so. We had a couple people, new advocates from Massachusetts, and
I was so excited for that.
Because for them to say, now it wasn't even their own state or their own city, but for them to say, I'm a Massachusetts resident was huge. Yep. Because we hear that all the time. Well, where are you from? Oh, Misty, you're from Colorado. You're from Utah. Why are you even calling? But if you're from that state, it speaks volumes. And so why we want to get all of these names is if something like this pops up, we need to engage quickly. And, sending out an email saying, hey, again, I'm just using Kansas. Okay, Kansas people, this is what's happening in your state. And, if you're in the vicinity, you can actually attend the hearing, or, you can send emails, which are, again, most of the time, I was going to say.
Is it plants and herbals or plants and herbs?
Herbals. That's it. You got it right.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yep, you got it right.
I was like, that doesn't sound
So
right.
yeah, if you are interested, I do want to tell, this is the big thing I wanted to say. I know people are worried they don't want to sign up for something where they're like, this is a part-time job. I don't want to do. No, that's not what this is. Now, if you live in Massachusetts, yeah, probably no. I'm just teasing. We've got a lot going on in Massachusetts, but honestly, it's rarely if something pops up, then we engage and we send that out. So you're not going to get a lot of spam emails coming out saying help. But again, that being said, if you are somebody that maybe you are disabled at home and you have extra time, and you're like, I want to become more involved, then my gosh, please do. Because even if you do live in a different state, you can still hop on these Zoom calls and still testify. And it
helps so much. Like we have seen multiple times where the law, they've changed their whole law because they're hearing from real people. They may not even, most of them have never even heard of Kratom.
Right.
But when they hear the impact that it's making in people's lives,
it makes them think, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. So we're, again, I'd love to have any of you. I promise I won't bug you like crazy. But the other thing we are doing is we're moving through a little at a time. We'll be having advocacy kind of, I guess you could call them roundups for different states. Like last week we had one in for Utah and Illinois. And so I know we're going to be having, if you're in California, just know they're coming up. I think we're going to be having 2 coming up after Thanksgiving in California to give people 2 opportunities. So again, that's a great opportunity to hop on that Zoom call, introduce yourself, tell us quickly about your story, and get on that email list so that we can email you.
Bunny's here in the comments. Bunny, this is Lora. This is who remember last week when we were like, send me your emails. If you're following me on TikTok or whatever, send me your emails. I hear the doggy.
What kind of dog is that?
Well, I've got my dog, which is a Australian Shepherd. And then I'm babysitting. I'm always babysitting. It's like a boarding house around here. I'm babysitting it's a Belgian.
Is that Harley?
What was that?
Is that Harley?
Oh, no, Harley. Oh, gosh. You guys have to hear what happened. Okay, should we tell them?
Yeah.
Oh, my heavens. So we had this hearing in Massachusetts. And I was babysitting my other grand dog, Harley. She's she's like a 4-month-old golden retriever. And I'm proud of her because she's adorable. And I had testified and I was exhausted. And so I'm like, okay, I'm done with my testimony. I'm just going to stick it on my earphones and walk the dog. So I'm walking along and I have these iPhone here, and I did not, now I know this. Everybody know this. When you take one of those babies out of your ears, it unmutes. So I had no idea. And I'm done. And late after the whole hearing's all finished, Misty goes, my gosh, well, we heard all about, you were yelling at your dog. I'm like, what? So she sends me the screenshot and I'm yelling to my neighbor because my neighbor's dog is named Harley. So I'm like, hey, Harley, meet Harley. And so I'm like chatting away, yelling away. And the poor guy, one of our new Massachusetts people, he doesn't know what's going on. He's like, who's talking?
Yeah, he's thinking somebody's talking over him.
He's like, it's my turn.
He's like, excuse me?
I have no idea. So Harley's famous now. She's famous. And yeah, it was pretty.
That was hilarious. I'm always scared that's going to happen when I have to walk away or like, when I go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I'm always scared if I touch my earbud, they're going to hear me like flushing the toilet, wash.
Yep.
I'm like, so I'm always like, I bring my phone with me and I'm like checking to make sure the mute thing is on every time.
Yeah. No, but today we have Rue. Let's see. Can we say hi to Rue? There's Rue.
Oh.
I'm babysitting her till tonight, so she's fun. But so sorry, I'm dog mom, and
That's okay.
We'll do our best.
It's because of Kratom.
That's right.
That's right.
Mel said she heard.
She heard it. See?
Harley, meet Harley.
At least I didn't say something really like rotten or something like, get over here, you stupid dog, or something stupid. It could have been way worse.
Oh, cool. Bunny sent an email.
Nice, Bunny. Nice. Yep. We need more.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I started when I watched the replay and I see our faces, we're like,
well, I'm glad I didn't
it's
know
like one of
about
those
it.
things you can't like wave at, like
because I didn't know I didn't have my phone, and so I don't. Anyway, it was crazy.
And we're all putting in the chat, Laura, mute. Laura, mute.
Because I can't hear it speak.
But yeah, it's way better than what could have been. Because I know, like my cats, they'll be walking right in front of me, like, "Would you get out of the way?"
Well,
so
and then
it could have been something like that.
The one KDA mom, she did it too, though. She was like,
"Yeah."
I don't remember who was. I don't Joe or something. She's like, "Go, Joe!" She like screamed. So we had a little bit of that too. So anyway, that's what happens when you get on Zoom. There's always little things that happen, and you just have to laugh.
It is, Bunny. It is scared. Like it's scary. But I mean, I can't say how nervous I was when I first started the virtual hearings and stuff. But it gets easier.
It does,
especially when you have like all of us are like a team and stuff, and it's something that it once you do it a couple of times, you just feel so much better about doing it, especially when you see the impact that it has on like and they're just like normal people, they're normal people, and it's nice. It's like when they ask questions and they're like, they actually care, and it shows that it does matter. And so, you start saying, oh, my story does matter, it truly does. I totally get being scared.
And what she said, I just have got to break out of my shell because I might cry. That's okay. Emotion
is fine.
Yeah.
It's real. Yeah. And
I've gotten teared up a couple of times during mine. And so it
really is real. So you don't need to worry about that. It's really, honestly, it's way less scary than you think it is. The best thing is to have that piece of paper in front of you where you've written out your story. One little thing that I will share, it's the greatest thing. If you write out your story, typically you get like 3 minutes to speak. Sometimes they'll cut it down to 1 or 2. Or the other day it was 5, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have 2 more minutes. I got to figure out what I'm going to say. But typically it's 3. So you can throw that in ChatGPT and say, make this into a 3-minute speech.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it's super easy. You just have to like read it, and that's it. That's all you have to do. And trust me, they won't ask you questions. They never do. So you don't need to worry about that.
I think I've had like one of them they asked how much I spent.
Yeah.
Like was it cheaper for my medications? I was like, this is actually much cheaper than my co-pays, for my medicines. But
it's easy.
Yeah, ChatGPT is like a lifesaver. I used to have my husband read everything.
Like when you email and I'm telling you, we get frustrated because truly I even said this in the text last night. I don't even think half the time they read them. But I'm telling you, like we were at a hearing last night, and the guy did say, or the clerk did say, well, there were 8 emails that came in.
Yep.
And they're in front of you right there. And so
they're on the dais.
Exactly. And so the number is a big deal. If they get 0, they think it's a non-issue. So those emails are really great. And when you do sign up on this, that's what I typically do is you will get like a little if there is a hearing that pops up or something like that, you will get like Zoom invite. Sometimes there's not Zoom capabilities, but sometimes there is. And inside, you'll also see the email addresses of where you can actually send your story to. So it's kind of a one-time hit where it's like, oh, I can show up, or I can email, or here's what's going on. And so it's not.
Yeah, it's like even if you can't do virtual, just sending that email is, it's something.
Yeah.
It is something. And especially most of them are supposed to have, I guess like proof that you made public comment or whatever. But I mean, some people do read them every now and then. Man, Iowa City.
Not that one. They read them. Oh my word!
Yeah.
They read all of them. I was so shocked that I've never seen that before. I really haven't.
Yeah.
So that's pretty rare, but
I think that's the one. But I think that might have been the one, Bunny.
Yeah, it was. It was the one where I yelled at Harley. That was the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the one.
Bunny, that's an amazing idea. She says, yes, I need to record myself reading my testimony and see if it's 3 minutes or less. Yes.
There you go. There you go.
Practice,
Yeah.
Most of the time on these Zoom hearings, you don't need to turn your video on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I usually like even now, I mean, I'll kind of, when I'm getting ready for it, I'll say, like, I'm brushing my teeth. My name is Jennifer. Like, I'm just saying it out loud so it normalizes like I'm talking to someone else or whatever.
Right.
But, it's really not that. It's like once you do it, it's like a weight lifted off your shoulder.
Well, and the other thing I will say is it's a weird deal. You never know what you're going to get. Like, so don't go in and think you're going to figure this out, because every time we don't know. Like, we had one just this week where we show up and we wait for the whole thing. It's on the list. It's supposed to be discussed. And at the very end, they're like, no, we're not going to discuss it today.
Yes.
Anyway. So we'll sit there for an hour and then there's nothing. So I just want to let you know, if something like that happens, don't let that dissuade you from trying again, because there's other opportunities. You just kind of have to figure out. Everyone's different. Totally. Everyone's different.
Yeah.
But you'll learn a lot. You will hear. It's just really a cool experience to be a part of it too.
And we're not going to
get you more involved in like just, in local stuff. Like, you figure out how things work and, you kind of start paying attention. It's good to kind of know what's going on, in period, especially in your local stuff. So, I mean, it is nice. I can guarantee I know more than anybody that I talk to. I know a whole lot more about local legislation.
You learn. It's amazing what you learn. Yeah. For sure.
And it's not, we're not going to win them all. We've seen that, but don't let that discourage you either, because we've won a lot.
We have.
Yeah.
Some hearings that we've attended, they'll start off as a ban, and then we're speaking our testimony or people are showing up in person. And then all of a sudden they're tabling it.
Right.
You know, and it's like, it's a roller.
Or they want to learn more,
Yes.
or they just, so it does. I say 90% of the time it makes a big difference.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I agree. So it's and besides, you become a part of our little family, and it's a fun little family.
Yeah.
We get chat groups going and all sorts. So it's really fun. So really be involved in that, because it really is. It's very, very helpful.
Like Keith says, Cramley.
Yeah, I love how Keith says Cramley. That's so cool. All right, so y'all want to watch this news story? Before we get off, I say we'll talk about the email before we end the live stream too.
Yeah, we're gonna watch that. If you guys were with us last Saturday, Jen and I had watched. It was the news station one, right? That we're gonna watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and also, I'm gonna put it in the. I'm gonna put, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm gonna put Laura's email address in the description.
Oh, let me go do that too.
Where she did it. Oh, I'm sorry. I already did that one. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, them emails are important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know both of those would come up at the same time. Okay, let's watch this Utah thingy doodad. I'm going to turn.
Hold your breath. That's all I have to say. I was screaming within 20 seconds. So there you go.
All I know is you better. I'm glad that you haven't seen the Utah hearing.
I didn't want it. Yeah, Misty called me and said, "Don't watch it."
Don't watch
Yeah.
it.
It's not worth it.
So it's Laura at plantsandherbals.org.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Alrighty.
But there's a drug, a substance that's being sold at Utah gas stations and service stations, and it's called Kratom, Kratom. And it's, some people describe it as gas station heroin. Supporters of the drug say it's a natural remedy that helps with pain and addiction. For the next couple segments, we're going to be breaking down the arguments for and against the ban, or proposed statewide ban on kratom. And the American Kratom Association is going to join us at 10:20 to discuss their perspective.
I'm shaking my head at you because we asked for pronunciation because I didn't know either, but I've been told it's kratom.
Okay.
So we're going to ask Senator Mike
Tomato,
McKell what
tomato.
he thinks. So thanks for joining us, Senator.
Hey, thank you for having me on. And Greg, I'm really happy you didn't know about the drug. It is kratom. I'm glad you've got me on before the Kratom Association. I mean, let me tell you, they're out to sell a product. They're gonna pitch a good story. But what I've done so far is I've actually got feedback from experts. We had a committee hearing. We had all of the experts in the state. So don't take my word for it. I'm happy to talk through, but it is kratom, and I just want to start off right off the top. This is from the FDA. Kratom is not appropriate for use as a dietary supplement. Therefore, kratom is not legally marketed in the U.S. as a drug product, a dietary supplement, or a food addition in conventional food. Let's jump into it. Ask me anything you want.
Okay. Let me ask you first, why is it being sold at gas stations, and why are we calling it now gas station heroin?
Well, it's interesting. We call it gas station heroin. I was at a dinner last night with a lawmaker from Louisiana. They had just banned it, and that's the term they use. That's the term I use. Unfortunately, this is where I regret a vote that I made years ago while I was still serving in the House. We passed the Kratom Protection Act. It authorized kratom to be sold in the state of Utah. It's expanded out. It's being sold in the state of Utah. It's in a lot of states. States that have passed it have now banned it. I was with a lawmaker from Louisiana and Connecticut. Both of those states have just banned it. Comes from Southeast Asia. Several nations in Southeast Asia ban it entirely. They've had hundreds of years of that long history with the product. They know how harmful it is. But I'm going to call it gas station heroin. That's what it is. It attacks your opioid receptors exactly the same way. I hope we get a chance to talk about some of the data we learned in the state that people are dying from kratom, and it's showing up in our overdose deaths, and it's a really dangerous product.
How is it being marketed, Senator?
Real quick?
I mean, and
Yeah.
I've like I
I
said,
wanted to just do a couple comments, especially during this one section. So interesting that he brings up Louisiana, because if anybody had not been on the Louisiana hearings, the entire hearing was based on lies. Like, and I don't say that lightly. Like, literally, they said there was no difference between kratom and 7-OH. They had a million different just wrong things, and all of these lawmakers were being fed all of this information that
they had their own experts
That's right. And so for him to say that he's been talking to Louisiana, that goes to show you who he's been talking to, the person that has been that fed all of their legislation.
Yep.
And then when we watched that Utah hearing, it was like watching Louisiana.
Yes.
It was literally the exact same thing. And it's so infuriating to see somebody get up and just bold-faced lie and make up stuff.
Yeah. And for him to say gas station heroin, I mean, we all know that it's been, that was the tianeptine. That was really what that was, but this is just caught on, and it's just gangbusters. And the other thing that bugs me is I think he uses the word drug, like, I don't know, 20 times. And he's
planting that seed.
Yeah.
So
and watching or when we watched the Louisiana hearings that happened, that senator wanted the AKA to disclose their conflicts of interest, but not once did he question any naysayer there what their conflicts of interest were.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then Connecticut, of course, if people don't know, that was slipped into their legislation literally at the 11th hour, like 2 hours before the session ended, it hit. And so it was really a sneaky way to put that in as well. And it was not, they just didn't do the process that they should have done. So.
Well, even in Utah, I will say they even brought up one of the council members or whatever reps. She even brought up the dose ascending dose study the FDA did. Yeah. And the dude from Utah, the lawyer, whatever his name is,
Mikkel,
he was pretty much saying that was paid for by the AKA.
Yeah. Yeah. And then for them to
and that's a lie
that we're selling product, that's ridiculous. I mean, anybody that knows it's ridiculous, you know. So I just, again, there's just a lot of inaccuracies here. And that's what bothers me the most is, you know what, you can have your opinion all you want, but when you're saying inaccuracies, that's where I just go, no. And there's more coming. So I guess we can start again.
Here we go.
I've never seen it, but it's obviously being marketed, or we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah, you've probably seen it. You just didn't notice. It's on the counter at Maverick. I mean, that's how it's being marketed. It's literally at the checkout counter next to 5 Hour Energy. And
I'm sorry. I have to.
That's okay.
Okay, so this. I have to say what he's done, which is very deceptive in what he's done. So in several articles, Mikkel has mentioned that it's being sold right at the counter, right as you walk in. Well, let me ask you this: where are cigarettes sold?
Right at the counter,
behind the counter.
Okay, they're behind the counter, and that's exactly what's happening with Kratom. But the layperson that's listening to this or reading this is thinking that you're walking in, and you know where you have your little Tic Tacs right at the front. It's just sitting there for people to grab off the shelf. That is inaccurate, because in Utah we have the Kratom Consumer Protection Act, which means that you cannot purchase this unless you are 21 years of age. So it is marketed exactly like liquor or like tobacco products. It is behind the counter where you cannot get it, and you have to be carded. And are there bad apples that probably wouldn't card somebody? Yeah, but that's the same with cigarettes. You could have.
I've seen it. That's how we do it in Tennessee. Like every gas station I've ever seen it, you know, Kratom in, it's either behind the counter or it's in a glass case. They have to go and unlock.
Exactly. So for me, and then of course, if you're in smoke shops or in an adult store anyway. So I've stopped into several gas stations, and I have seen number one, a lot of them I don't even see it. Number two, if I have seen it, it is behind the counter. And I guess, you know, if somebody did have it not behind a locked counter, they still are supposed to card anyone that comes in. I mean, that is the law.
Right.
That is the law. And that's no different than, you know, he's not here talking about taking liquor off the counter or tobacco, because they have their processes and sale, you know, in check of how to sell it. So, okay. Sorry. That was I had to say that.
Anytime. Just tell me when to stop whenever you want to.
Products. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I don't want to go into too many details. I don't want new people using this product, but
get out of here.
Smoke shops online. So I kind of did a survey, and I don't want to say I did a survey. I went on my own investigation. I drove around the legislative district I represent, and I bought Kratom to have it tested. And I mean, I can tell you every gas station in Spanish Fork that sells it or doesn't sell it, but that's where it's primarily sold, including smoke shops, and a bunch of it sold online.
Are there different strains being made other than what the natural substance would be if you found it?
Yeah, almost every strain that people are buying are not the natural Kratom. And that's, look, they're going to come on, they're going to tell you how wonderful this plant is. But what I did is I asked every clerk when I bought Kratom, I said, I want you to sell me what people are actually buying. Sell me the most popular version of Kratom. And then I had a chance to meet with Dr. Brandon Forsyth up at the state lab. We had a lot of these products tested, and the most popular Kratoms, the Kratoms folks are buying, it's extracted. It's become way more potent and way more addictive and way more harmful.
Is that because they're adding synthetic ingredients to it? I mean, I understand, and again, I'm like Greg. I didn't know anything about it until I started seeing on your social media that you're like, hey, I didn't know how bad this was.
Yeah, it's bad news. Well, what they're doing is they're extracting it, making it more potent. And when they come on, they're going to tell you about a drug called 7-OH or 7-hydroxy. And it is really dangerous, and I think we all agree that it's really dangerous. But what's interesting is the metrageny, that's an alkaloid in the kratom itself, is also very dangerous. And don't take my word for it. We did a committee hearing. The state lab, the director himself, Brandon Forsyth, as he's been looking at these products, one of the conclusions he's reached, and some of our other experts that came in, is the alkaloid in kratom, the main alkaloid, the metrageny itself, is also very, very dangerous. And I've heard the industry say it would take a truckload of this alkaloid to get somebody addicted, to get somebody high, and that's nonsense. That's not true. Right now, I want this to set in. We had the Megan Brokemeyer. She's the drug overdose prevention research coordinator for our DHHS state of Utah. She brought data, and right now we have at least 158 kratom-related overdose deaths where kratom was in that person who overdosed.
708.
And those numbers of that drug have actually gone up 43% over the last 5 years in these overdose deaths we're seeing in the state of Utah. So it's showing up in a very big.
Okay, so a couple things. Number one, the only thing that is allowed on the shelves in Utah is natural kratom, period. 7-OH is not allowed. So if it's being found, it's illegal. So that is not being sold. So for him to say, number one, for him to say that an extract is not natural kratom, that's not true. It is. And so now that being said, is our extracts more potent than the powdered kratom? Absolutely. Do we need to respect the products? Absolutely. Do we need to, no different than saying I'm going to smoke 3 packs of cigarettes a day? I'm not, you've got to be able to, be respect for what you put inside your body. So that right there was inaccurate, because I know for a fact that what is being sold on the shelves is natural kratom.
Have you seen any 7-OH products in your area?
No.
Yeah. Have you gone to any smoke shops?
I've gone. In fact, the smoke shop I went to, they didn't even know what it was. So,
wow.
Yeah, they didn't even understand. So it's not being sold. Now, that being said, are people figuring out ways to get it? Probably.
Yeah. Online sales.
Exactly.
Yeah, online. They're ordering it online. 100%. And it's like, so he wants to say what do you say? 43% it's gone up 43%.
Well, and remember, in fact, if you actually look at the article from one of the articles that hit in Salt Lake, it did quote some of those statistics. But then after they quoted that statistic, they're saying, but in almost every situation, it was in combination with many other substances.
Yeah.
So again, it would be like saying, if you were to test those same people, how many people had Tylenol in their system?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just saying, it just happened.
Yeah.
And especially someone who is, maybe taking harder substances, there is a chance that they are trying to recover. Now, does that mean that those deaths were caused by kratom? Absolutely not. The other thing that bothers me is that he started talking about how, that mitragynine or metragynine, however you say it, is deadly. Well, what about the single ascending dose study?
Yeah,
exactly. Did their own study, and they said, because if that was truly the case, then that study would have said, we're not even doing live human studies. But now they are moving on because they said they did deem it was safe. So that again is inaccurate information that
It's always been my understanding that they have yet to find a LD50 on metragynine or kratom.
Mm-hmm.
They have yet to find the LD50 of it.
Right. And I mean, is there a chance that you combine four things and put kratom on top, and that could be the trigger that again,
and that's my whole thing with like the accuracy of all, like every time a death is attributed to kratom alone and they don't do any like further investigation. So let's say, coroner does drug tests, that's what comes up, nothing else is done. I think that it puts us further away from the science of figuring out what all these combinations. I think it's like delaying the science behind finding out stuff like that.
And I've always said that, finding kratom in the system does not equate what do I say? Having kratom in your system at the time of death does not equate the cause of death.
Correct.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
And finding kratom on scene, like, let's say a cop saw it on the kitchen counter.
Yeah.
That does not equate the cause of death.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. Like that Ohio mom.
Yes.
Remember that Ohio mom? You know, she her son passed away and the medical examiner called her the very next morning and she knew as a medical professional that there was no way, you know, they could come up with a cause of death, toxicology, all that in that short period of time.
Yeah.
I mean, she fought like heck
They
to get
sued her. The AKA
Yeah.
actually helped her sue them. Sue the
I
medical
mean,
examiner.
I have so much respect for her because she was truly trying to find
The cause, right?
I feel like that's how I would be. I would want to know the facts, the truth. I would want to know everything.
But
You know,
what's,
so
what's hard is you see these stats and it scares people.
It does.
Exactly.
Because here in Utah, I've had several people that I know come up to me and said, "Are you really taking gas station heroin?" Now they did it in a they're not, they weren't being, they trust me and
Yeah,
know me, but they were just kind of like, "Are you really taking that?" I'm like,
or like
"Oh my
be
God."
careful. Yeah,
So
like
people
you know,
are
worried.
hearing all this and they're believing and they're not thinking. They hear the 145 deaths and their brain is going to, it's 145 kratom deaths, but that is not,
Yes.
that is not the truth.
Yeah.
But again, it's just deceptive how people, it's fear mongering. And
Yeah.
but people are going to believe this because they're hearing it.
I
So,
can't. Let me tell you
My
something.
Lord.
I know it's not your fault, Laura, but every single time I hear the word fear mongering, it has been overused
I know. I know.
to
By
the
the
max
708 community.
by the
Yeah.
708 community.
That's all.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know. No kidding.
But I mean, it's just like back in the COVID times, you know, when people were dying of like random stuff, they drowned in a swimming pool in their backyard, but they tested positive for COVID.
Yeah.
It was automatically
yeah.
an attributed. So I mean, it's the same exact thing.
It is.
You know?
It is. So okay, I said my piece.
Okay.
For now.
Yeah.
Way, and it's a scary substance. It just, the way it's being marketed is safe. It's not a supplement. When
It's so scary
when you go to
that
buy
these
your
people have
supplement,
never heard
I don't
about
know
it.
anybody
Exactly.
that says, "Well, I think I want to go get my supplement at the gas station," and you know, conveniently right next to the 5-hour energy.
So Mike, how is it being? I mean, what is the FDA doing? Is there no federal legislation or federal regulation of this right now?
Not very much. It's catching up, and there's been an effort nationwide to really focus on stuff, and that's what the industry is going to tell you, that the problem is 7-hydroxy, and they're right. It is a problem, but it's both. The FDA is tackling that, but the guidance from the FDA is, I mean, it is clear. I mean, quote, "Kratom is not appropriate
Wait, can you pause it real
for
quick?
use as a dietary supplement," end quote.
Yeah, you should
The
play that video.
The FDA has received reports of 13 deaths and 33 hospitalizations over the past 4 years, claiming 5-hour energy was possibly involved. Where's the 5-hour energy ban?
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to say that.
Yeah.
The FDA has looked at it. They've been really clear. The Mayo has done some really good research. And
okay.
just to warn the public, when they come on, they're going to talk about some research. A lot of that research was actually funded by these folks selling the product. So when they come on and they talk about how safe it is and the research that was done, I want to be clear that a lot of that research is coming directly from the industry itself and the Kratom Association. I mean, dollars are being used as marketing dollars to do research, and I think we see that in a lot of products, but I think you're going to hear that when they come on.
Let me ask you a question about how this relates to maybe the psilocybin conversation that's been happening on Utah's Capitol Hill. So magic mushrooms, right?
Yeah.
Are you talking about maybe classifying or restricting the use of kratom under the supervision of a trained professional, or you are just looking for a straight out ban?
Yeah, so what I do is I schedule the 2 alkaloids, the 7-hydroxy as well as the metrogeny, and that, if somebody wanted to go down that road and go through that medical process, that doesn't close the door. I've talked about a ban, but the ban is selling it the way it's being sold today. You know, certainly if somebody wanted to go down that road, they could, But what I think is you shouldn't be able to sell an opioid in a gas station. I think that's really clear. And let me just throw out another argument. You're going to hear about people who come off opioids, and they're able to come off opioids by taking kratom. And that shouldn't surprise anybody that you can replace one opioid with another. Your opioid receptors are impacted the exact same way with kratom. So when they argue, and people who are selling this product, they argue this is a safe way to get off opioids. I don't think converting from one opioid to another opioid is ever safe. And anytime opioids are involved, to your point with the psilocybin, medical marijuana, we involve professionals, we involve doctors, we involve some oversight to make sure it's not just peddled at a gas station.
Thank you so much for joining us. That was Senator.
The reason why medical professionals are involved with cannabis and psilocybin is because those are federally illegal.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
That's the only way you can patent a plant is if something is federally illegal first.
Yep.
And do you talk about the AKA paid for all this research? What? How the hell?
I don't think they have stock in Johns Hopkins University and Florida and all, and not only that, but all over the world. There's research going on. So yeah, there's no way that's being.
I hate it when I hear that because, I've also heard like McCurdy's a shill for the AKA. And it's like, nobody is going to give up 20 years of integrity for their passion and they went to school for money. I'm sure there's some people that would do it, but I'm just saying that's not the case.
That's not McCurdy.
Why is it ever bad to say we're encouraging you to do more research?
Yeah.
Why is that ever a bad thing? I mean, to me, that's what we want. We want more and more and more research to come out. But and the fact that he keeps going on over and over again about having this is an opioid, it's not.
No,
it is not.
Right.
You talk to NIDA, you talk to all of the top. It is not an opioid. It is a partial mu agonist, and so it partially attaches to that. And if you actually look up and Google what is an opioid, then it says it attaches fully to those agonists. It's a full agonist. So for him to say that is absolutely, it's just wrong.
Now 7-OH can technically, it is an opioid because it only attaches and binds to the opioid receptor.
Correct.
Kratom itself in the holy form goes to multiple receptor sites.
Right.
The mu, the adrenergic, serotonergic, dopaminergic, all those sites. And it's like, and the fact that he's going to not even refute, I don't even know if he knows this, but, Dr. Nora Volkow from NIDA, they've set aside $100 million to study kratom.
Yeah.
Do you really think the AKA gave them $100 million? No, isn't that our money that's paying for that?
Exactly. It's ridiculous. And for him to say that they're going to schedule it, I mean, now I'll be honest, that I truly believe, and I honestly believe that it's really sad because I do think that 7-OH had incredible potential to be a life-saving medication, but they didn't do the science and it was released into the public. It's wrong. It should not be on.
It should have never been marketed.
Exactly.
It should have never been released when and how they went about doing
100%. So I truly believe that, I really do. I wish that they could, go through that process with the 7-OH to actually possibly find a medical use for it eventually that's controlled in a safe environment. But for them to say that they're going to schedule it, basically it's a ban. He's saying scheduling.
Yeah.
There's no way because it'll take 10 years to go through the whole drug processing. And I guarantee you that there are drug companies out there that are salivating over this.
Yes. Oh, and the only industry that put 7-OH nail in the coffin is the 7-OH industry.
Right.
They did it to themselves. It wasn't the AKA. It wasn't the GKC. It's not the FDA, DEA, HHS. It's the 7-OH industry.
It would have gone low and slow and done it the right way.
Yeah.
And not been so greedy.
Yeah.
And wanting to throw it out there, call it kratom.
Yeah.
Keep up in the dose. I mean, everything that they did when they released it in the public was absolutely the wrong way to do it.
100%. Yeah.
And so because of that, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure, maybe years down the line but obviously, these people don't want to put in the time and money to go about it the right way because they were only after the money in the first place.
And now the rumors are that in 2 years, that industry has made $2 to $8 billion.
Yeah.
What other industry within a 2-year time frame is already in the billions?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
I mean, it's insane.
It is. And the other thing is, I kind of stepped into this kind of role about a year ago, and it was really interesting because there was just really not that many bands popping up. There was not a lot of chatter. Like, I mean, we see the Google alerts and you'd rarely see, but it's just blown up. Well, why? Because
in the past 6 months alone,
we
have had to attend more hearings, especially this time of the year is usually so super cool. Like you're kind of chilling, waiting for the next legislation.
But it's
like so rampant because it's affecting so many people, and they call it kratom. They're going to call it. I mean, think about poison control didn't even have a code for it until February this year.
Well, and I just will never forget that I worked with a guy that was he was a vendor that was in Louisiana before this whole ban hit. And he was telling me, he says, oh yeah, he said, that's all people want. He says, we cannot sell. Yeah. He says, the regular kratom, no one was purchasing it. He says, in fact, you'd walk in and they'd say, well, where's your 7.0? And they'd say, oh, well, I don't sell it. And they'd say, oh, well, thanks. And they leave. And he's like, well, we don't want that. Yeah. So this is what's happening is this perpetuated all of the news and everything. That's why most people haven't heard of it. 2 years ago, I guarantee you, like no one knew about it. And now it's starting to get more and more popular just because of, the whole 7-OH factor.
Yeah. I'm also, Scars, I'm seeing a lot of
for sure. The
ads too. Yeah.
Ads. Yeah.
I mean, they're jumping on that train too.
What's up, Scars? I'm sorry. I miss my Facebook fam. I really do. I got banned in June. I miss you guys.
It's just, it's insane. And I know I've heard, oh, well, they're just mad because people are buying that instead of kratom. But it's like in that big, of a, there's something wrong with that.
Yeah.
If it's that, I don't know how to put it into words, but it's like, if nobody is buying,
it's not a flex.
So well,
it's not a flex.
No, it's a bad thing. It's a scary thing.
Right.
I mean,
and then you got this recent lawsuit that's being filed in Florida, right, from a chain of smoke shops or something like that. Some individuals that remain anonymous. The main thing in that lawsuit that they're filing against the Florida AG is they've lost 60% of their income.
Right.
Like, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just crazy.
I got to go to the bathroom.
Let's hear. Well, I was going to say, we'll hear the good stuff after that. So. Great.
We'll wait for Misty to come.
Yeah, that's totally great. But yeah, but those that don't know in Utah, this Mikkel he's an attorney and he's very media savvy, and I know he's been the one that's pushed all of these interviews and newspaper articles that are happening. And it's really sad because I feel like I sort of got a hit taken on me because I had in fact, you can look at it. If you type in my name, Lora Romney, and Kratom, Utah, it'll pop up. I had a op-ed published just a couple weeks ago at the Salt Lake Tribune.
Yeah.
But again, it was like just a couple of days after another article hit, and he said the same thing he said in this article. You're going to hear of a person that was able to transition off, and they're just trading one opiate for the next.
I hate hearing that.
So it was a little bit of I felt passive aggressive hit on that one.
Yeah.
So
he's definitely, I guess savvy is a good word.
Yes.
Nice word.
When I heard this, I felt like I was in a courtroom because you are going to hear, I mean, we've all done that in school, the mock trials and stuff. You are going to hear this. Let me tell you what you're going to hear. And so he's just precursing everything. And, by doing that, it just, it colors the opinion of the person who's coming next.
Right. Yeah.
He's a darn good attorney, as you can tell.
It's sad. I mean, it really is. It's especially the fact that he's the one that he keeps saying he wish he could take his vote back. I think that's another thing that's really affecting
Well,
the
and
whole.
I honestly, truly, and I'm hearing Utah. I'm not under any guise that there's somebody that's not having issues with it, but no one knows anybody here that is having issues with it. We haven't heard, I mean, you maybe hear a handful, but again, if you have the same thing that went out there and said, how many people, we're going to do a survey, how many people has alcohol, or you guys are dealing with alcohol in your, there'd be billions more. So
oh God, yeah.
But there's I don't know, there's something behind this. I don't understand why. Why there's got to be a reason why he's so focused on doing this and saving the state of Utah. I don't know. I'll leave it at that.
I have my own theory.
Yeah,
me too.
I'll leave it at
that. Me too.
No comment. I'm going to plead the fifth on that one. All right. I'm going to go to the bathroom too, but I'm going to start the video.
Okay.
Mike McKell talking to us about proposals on Utah's Capitol Hill to ban or at least restrict kratom. And when we come back, we're going to talk with the Kratom Association and how they say it can be used beneficially. So stay with us.
Inside Sources.
Let's follow up on our conversation about kratom. Utah lawmaker says that that even though it's a natural remedy that helps with pain and addiction, it should be regulated, and a Utah lawmaker is actually trying to ban it. We just heard from Senator Mike McKell, who's sponsoring legislation to do that. We now have joining us Mac Haddow, Senior Fellow on Public Policy for the American Kratom Association. Mac, I'm sorry, I'm not going to pronounce that word wrong anymore, but can you tell our listeners what it is?
I can. Thank you for this opportunity. Kratom is a plant that's grown naturally in Southeast Asia, has been used for centuries there safely by people. It came to the United States just after the Vietnam War when our soldiers who had used it in order to offset the long, hot days in the jungle, gave them energy boost and increased focus. We had a massive immigration of the Hmong population where kratom was a part of their diet. So it was introduced to the United States and has been used safely in America since that time.
And so today, it's something you can just buy over the counter at a gas station. Is that right? And
at health food stores. And yes, you can buy a number of products that are very helpful to you at gas stations. You can also buy products in the state of Utah that are very bad for you, including cigarettes and alcohol. You regulate those things to make sure kids can't get them and make sure that they're properly labeled. And that's what the existing Kratom Consumer Protection Act does.
So let me just ask you this. It's being called gas station heroin, which to me makes it sound like I should be concerned. We're also hearing some data that it can be very, very addictive. What can you tell us about its addictive properties?
Well, let me first say that I have immense respect for Senator McKell, and I understand what he's trying to do, but he was quoted in the Deseret News when asked whether he would work with the association. He said that's not going to happen. It needs to happen because what Senator McKell told you on this gas station heroin is not accurate. If you look at the FDA's characterization of gas station heroin, they're talking about 7-OH, which is a chemically manipulated opioid that is derived from a metabolite in the kratom plant. It is not kratom. And I think he's wrong about that. And if he would talk to us and not just lock the door on us, we could explain that. But there are a couple of other things that Senator McKell said.
I just want to pause that real quick and say that also just them not being open to communication as a legislator,
what does that
tells me there's definitely something behind.
There's an ulterior motive.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like they've shut down all lines of communication and compromise. There's just something not right about that at all.
That are equally not true. He said that the Mayo Clinic has done really good research on kratom. They have not spent one penny of research on kratom. They simply repeat what the FDA in the past has said. But importantly, and what Senator McKell needs to understand, the FDA has changed their position on natural kratom leaf products dramatically because they now have identified that 7-OH, gas station heroin, needs to be scheduled at the federal level, and they announced that on July 29th. Now, on the safety, the reason the FDA has changed their position, that they previously had been anti-kratom, is that they conducted their own FDA dose finding study. Senator McKell told you a lot in his interview what you were going to hear from us. We're a consumer-based organization, not an industry group. He said that the FDA dose-finding study was funded by industry. That's not true. It was funded by the FDA. It was independently done by an agency that had a bias against kratom, and what they found is that kratom is well tolerated at all dose levels. And if you look at the kratom death statistics that were quoted by Senator McKell, they misstate the reality and the truth. Those overdose deaths consistently involved polydrug use. That's a problem in our society where you have people that are using illicit drugs, and some of them may be using kratom at the same time, some to withdraw from those illicit drugs, but that's not what caused their deaths. And you can look at the FDA website, you can look at the National Institute on Drug Abuse website. Both consistently say, from a federal government position, that kratom deaths are rare, and when they do occur, it is because of adulterated products or polydrug use. We don't go in and ban Tylenol because someone adulterated or manipulated a Tylenol product like they did in Chicago a couple of decades ago. We regulate that product, and that's the response that we should be using here. There are bad kratom products on the market that are masquerading as kratom that are actually gas station heroin. There are some extremely potent kratom products that are masquerading as natural kratom leaf products. We need to regulate them. Banning them is not the solution, and Senator McKell is simply wrong on that point. I hope he'll sit down and talk to us.
We're speaking with Mac Haddow, Senior Fellow on Public Policy for the American Kratom Association.
Can you pause it real quick?
Let me ask you kind of a two.
I was about to pause it. I love hearing Mac when he gets, like, you can tell when he gets, like, passionate about what he's saying because he heard everything, you know.
He did.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
He's great.
Jen Mercer, Yoga Jen. I want to say congratulations.
Yeah, perfect time to happen, too.
Yes.
Perfect time. Thanksgiving.
You should check the chat, Laura.
Oh.
That's what needs to be done.
That's a big deal.
That is freaking amazing. I don't know if Yoga Jen wants us to say out loud what happened.
Yeah. But I think it's great. And yeah, I think it should happen.
Oh, yeah. I heard that was happening. So we'll just keep you all suspicious.
Yeah.
It's a happy thing.
It's a very happy thing.
Heck yeah, girl. Do that thing.
Part question. One, how does the FDA currently treat kratom? And two, you mentioned the Kratom Consumer Protection Act or something. Can you tell us, I'm sure I butchered the name, what that is?
So you can go to Commissioner McCary's statement when asked directly in the July 29th press conference what the difference between natural kratom leaf products are and 7-OH. And he said the difference is night and day. He called 7-OH gas station heroin because it is. It is an opioid. Kratom is not. Senator McKell is wrong again. Kratom is not by legal definition nor by chemistry an opioid. It is a partial agonist, as many substances are, that does not go to the euphoric high center of your brain, nor does it cause respiratory suppression. And there are numerous NIDA, National Institutes on Drug Abuse, studies, over $100 million of NIDA-funded studies, government taxpayer-funded, that will corroborate what I've just said to you. And the idea that this is all funded by industry is a myth. And I hope that Senator McKell will sit down and talk to us about it. The Kratom Consumer Protection Act is our effort to regulate kratom because we were having a hard time at the federal level getting the FDA's attention. We started in 2019. Utah was the first of now 18 states that have enacted a Kratom Consumer Protection Act. It regulates kratom, the formulation of the products, it requires good labeling, and it age restricts access to it. That's what Utah did, and they are the pioneer in the country, and we're seeing more and more states do it. And I'll just give you an example. Senator McKell said he talked about Louisiana that just banned it. Rhode Island reversed their ban and adopted the KCPA. But the Louisiana House member who stood on the floor and was asked the question, what about these synthetics? And Representative Vileo said, and I've got a tape of it, said there's no such thing as a synthetic. And yet that's what the FDA now has identified as the true problem in the kratom space, these masquerading products that are 7-hydroxymytrogynine, 7-OH, that are opiates.
Now, for those of you that don't know, what happened in Louisiana was a monstrosity of freaking
Yeah.
misinformation. So those senators that got fed information by our opposition group, right? They pretty much fed them the same information that the 708ers like to tell us today. That, you know, that 708 is not synthetic, that it's not an opioid, all that stuff. So they pretty much they gossiped, you know, and that's what they told those senators in Louisiana. So for her to get up that,
Like those senators in Louisiana legit listen to like just I don't know, people just off the street say like telling them like they didn't even try and like find the truth out. They were just listening to people's hearsay.
they wanted to talk about how nobody from their state got up there and testified and all that stuff, but yet they're in the ear. Our opposition group was in their ear over the phone and emails that don't live in that state. So what they wound up doing was finding somebody in that state whose father got up there and testified, saying that his son committed suicide because of kratom.
Yeah.
It was strategic.
And I mean, for her, she sat up there because they were kind of, you know, didn't seem like it was going to pass. And then when Vilio got up there and said, you know, there is absolutely no such thing as synthetic kratom. I may have been born at night, but I wasn't born last night.
Yeah.
You know, that's I think what sealed it. Like she was adamant about their literally like we were just making something up.
Yeah.
And then what, two months later is when
I don't know. I don't know the time frame, but months later, the DEA, HHS, and FDA did that press conference on July 29th.
Right.
And they just kept saying synthetic, synthetic, synthetic. It's like, dude, what a, you know, I would feel like such a moron if I would have done, if I would have been that lady.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
They got spoon-fed information, and now over 300,000 Louisianans that consume kratom are out of it. They can't do it. It's illegal.
And I see it over and over. I'm in a lot of different pain groups, and I just, it breaks my heart because even people that are not kratom consumers, I see it all the time, and they're desperate. They're like, I have nothing. I've had everything taken away. I have no pain medication. And many of them literally are suicidal. They're like, I can't work. I can't.
And that's why,
yeah.
You know, that's why whenever they, you know, you hear during hearings, the anti people, they're like, oh, if you take it away, they're going to kill themselves. That's why.
That's why.
It's not because we're addicted to it. It's because you're taking away life.
Yeah.
You know, you're taking away.
Well, and I often
being able to
feel so
function.
sad because I'll help people and I'll say, well, what state do you live in? And I just had one a couple weeks ago, and I'm just like, I am so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. You know, it's illegal in your state. And I just think it's really sad because there are so many pain patients out there that are desperate because they don't have anything. And if they even knew about it, but with all the stigma going on and everything, all the lies, there's so many people that just, it would be so great for them to be able to find this. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody because everybody's body's different, but boy,
but you should be able to at least have the freedom of choice to
try
see
to see if
it works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
All right.
Opioids, full-blown opioids, because they're chemically manipulated. That's what we need to do to protect the public, and we need to make sure we stop them in the state of Utah. And Senator McKell's bill partially does that. He wants to ban 708s. That's appropriate.
So just to clarify, what does regulation look like to you? Because it sounds to me like you're really in favor of regulating because there are some adulterated forms. What does that look like to you?
Two levels of regulation. One is that the product that is sold to a consumer cannot contain more than 2% of the overall fraction of the product as 7-OH. That means that it's not chemically manipulated. Trace amounts of 7-OH do occur in the drying process of creating raw materials. And the FDA identified that. Commissioner McCary said it clearly, not even a question about that. So that's the first regulation. And secondly, we don't allow for any kratom product to be extracted without using FDA-approved food-grade solvents that do not exceed what's called the USP 467. That protects consumers. And Senator McKell is wrong on this point about these extracted products. Those that are violating that standard need to be removed from the marketplace, and we'll work with him on that. And currently, there's one other addition that we could add to the Utah law, which would say that you can't sell a 7-OH product that's greater than 1 milligram in a serving size. That is a protection that needs to be added to the Utah law, and we would like to work with Senator McKell on that.
Thank you for joining us today. We were talking with Mac Haddow, Senior Fellow on Public Policy for the American Kratom Association, and we also heard from Senator Mike McKell in our previous segment on why he believes this is so dangerous and addictive. So now we have both sides of the story.
Right, regulation versus preclusion altogether. We'll see which side prevails. And I guess we may have 50 different rulings from 50 different states on how kratom is being marketed and sold and regulated within those states.
Have you reached out to that those people, Laura?
Have I what?
Reached out to them?
Have you reached out to them?
Well, I do know that before I did the op-ed, reached out to KSL and asked if they would do a story or an op-ed, and they refused. So that's why I ended up going to the Salt Lake Tribune.
Oh,
and
okay.
They're kind of it's the competing, they're kind of the competing type newspaper.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Well, I mean, they didn't seem like they were very neutral.
No, they were. No, this was an I don't think this was a bad.
Yeah.
Very good. I'm glad they.
Because I've seen horrible.
100%. But I think that's where, and there are things that can always be improved. Always. I mean, always. They can regulate harder. They can have higher, stiffer fees. I don't know. I don't know how you prevent, online things, but there's got to be, again, comes down to the vendor. I know that reputable vendors will not ship to an illegal state.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and just like Mac, he's said several times that the vendors, that aren't playing by the book, they've even submitted to the FDA, to have some type, and nothing's been done. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know the solution.
That's all McKell has to do is add provisions to the already existing KCPA. That's all he has to do. And putting a 1 milligram, max limit on those tablets. Why isn't that doable? Like even that even makes the 7-OHers mad. Like why? I don't know.
Yeah,
that's all he has to do.
I know, and I'm
going to go ahead and just put this down here one more time.
Yeah, please do.
Anybody watching this,
especially as you can hear, we got crap going on in Utah. So I definitely want my Utah people, and I would love to, meet you and have you sign up and help us out. So but any state, we're looking at any state because things just keep popping up, and seems like it's like a little wildfire. Once you start one, it just tends to pop up. So we're seeing that now in California happening right now. So tend to be popping up, but our hot spots have been Massachusetts, Illinois, and now California.
Yeah.
So
and it's because of 7-OH. I don't care what anybody wants to try to argue with me based on my years of advocacy. We did not have to advocate this hard, especially at this time of year. Yeah. Normally from January to about June or July, that would be our time to advocate, but that would be statewide, not citywide or countywide. Ever since July of this year, it has been one wildfire right after another. And it's like, we're trying to put them all out. It's honestly, it's causing us advocacy fatigue, but you ain't going to bring us down.
Yeah.
Nuh-uh.
Oh no.
We're going to keep going. So
because of kratom, I am thankful that I found kratom in 2019 to be able to help put out the wildfires today so that you as a consumer can have kratom for the future.
That's right. That's right. Well, gosh, it's been so fun to come on today. I gotta make Jell-O.
I gotta go finish my deviled eggs, and I'm making this thing called pumpkin cheesecake lasagna. Ooh. It sounds gross.
I saw the video.
Good.
But it looks so good.
Oh,
it's like
sounds so
cheesecake and pumpkin and caramel.
Yeah, I got to do turkey and sweet potato mash. So we got a couple other things going up too. So, but I'm really happy to be here. I'm always happy to share it with fellow advocates, and I just want to thank you guys especially. You're like the superstars. Honestly, we're a really small little family. I mean, I see all these pop up. Like we all know everybody. And so, I hope that this gets circulated and that we bring more into that family. So
advocacy is teamwork. And with teamwork, we make the dream work. Like, I know that sounds cliche, you know, all that stuff, but it's so true.
Very
So
true.
true.
Yeah.
You want to end it out with Jordan's song?
Yeah, we can do that. All right. Happy Thanksgiving,
Yes.
everyone. Thanks for coming.
Thank
Happy
you.
Thanksgiving.
And Scars, it was good to see you here.
Yeah,
And
good to see
Mel and Bunny.
All right, let me get that pulled up. I promise it won't be very. All right. Here we go.
It's so many buttons.
I know. Well, it's like because I have to keep switching between the screens. Okay. Here we go.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Bye.
I'ma spit a little story, I'ma keep it brief. My life is so insane, but it changed with just a leaf. It made me feel complete. I never thought I would. Used to be that person that's rehearsing to present he's good. I felt misunderstood. To feel good, I would pop pills. I'm not fronting. Popping 20 Norcos, that was nothing. Too many, it was plenty. Couldn't handle it. Mama, she was crushed when I was rushed away by ambulance. Feeling so pathetic, man. I can barely stand it all. Surrounded by paramedics, so I told them about the tramadol. How many I took. Their looks were so embarrassing.
But I had to go, my liver burning like some kerosene. Right now, God, I'm thankful for Kratom. So happy that you made it. Tell you right now, never back down. Let's just band together and let nobody take it. Right now, God, I'm thankful for Kratom. So happy that you made it. Tell you right now, never back down. Let's just band together and let nobody take it.
See, the worst thing is when people try to come in and take away your freedom. Just because they're not profiting from something, they'd rather you be sick than healthy. They'd rather be wealthy than you be well.
See, I don't know where I'd be without this plans. It's not a facade, changed who I am. Used to be an addict, nowadays I am a man. I don't think you understand, I don't think you understand.
Yo, life as an addict, it was so over dramatic. Act sporadic, get pissed, and then you flip like some acrobatics. Listen to me, I would never steer you wrong. We should chant about the plan that helps us all just get along. I love the volley, makes me jolly, filled with happiness. I'm the guy who loves a tie, sprinkle with some capitalist. I think it's also made delicious. Every day the FDA lies and tries to make it look so vicious. I wonder why, rather have it sick than healthy. Long as their pockets are wealthy, driving in a Bentley, they prevent me from living free. Actually, it's just a T, lets you live so happily.
But they can't get paid cause it ain't mandate. Right now, God, I'm thankful for Kratom. So happy that you made it. Tell you right now, never back down. Let's just band together and let nobody take it. Right now, God, I'm thankful for Kratom. So happy that you made it. Tell you right now, never back down. Let's just band together and let nobody